Hello, my loves. This is Johanna Burkhardt. I am a multidimensional channel, teacher, healer, and author. And I am obsessed with all things metaphysical, esoteric, galactic, and of course, the healing journey. And I'm here to share my stories, my wisdom, and my teachings about being human in the illusion that we call reality. Welcome to Cosmic Blonde.
Hello, my loves. Today is a pretty cool podcast because we're going to talk about ways in which to know if you have shifted in to the new earth frequencies. And I talked a little bit about this in December when I spoke about the tsunami of light that was going to be coming in the beginning of December. And that tsunami of light created and began the split. Really, I wouldn't say it began the split. It feels more like an acceleration of the split between the old earth and the new earth. And we, meaning the guides and I, don't want you to get attached to those terms. Remember the human experience and the vocabulary, the colors, the things that we have here, right? We have a limited way of expressing what's actually happening in a quantum level. And so for now, this is what we're going to be calling it, old earth, new earth. And they are just two very distinct different frequencies and experiences, to be honest. And so when that tsunami of light came in, it was really the ushering in. It was the crossroads, that pivotal moment of when you either chose to stay in the old earth or you chose to take the bullet train into the new earth frequencies. And in that, there were some things that you may have experienced. And so I've kind of touched on some of this in different podcasts, but it really was today that the guides really helped bring it all together for me in a way that I could articulate what I've been experiencing and what many others are experiencing. So last month, around the time, probably a little bit after around, I would say the first week of December, I really started to feel tired all the time, just really exhausted, really reaching a point of just knowing that I needed to surrender and I needed to let go and I needed to just find that peace inside of me, that space of where I was okay no matter what was happening. I wasn't attached to my circumstances anymore. And for me, I didn't really correlate it to the tsunami of light. I really didn't correlate it to the new earth frequencies. I correlated it to my own personal journey, right? And so I went through that experience and I noticed the further we went into December, and then in January, it even accelerated even more, where I was just utterly, utterly exhausted. And this isn't like your brain's tired or, it was more like my body had been hit by a truck. I actually had a similar experience. I want to talk about this for a second. Side note. In 2020, when I left my husband, I let go of so much all at once that I had a massive lactic acid release in my bones. Because you have to remember that when we are repressing energies, when we are holding on to things, emotions, stories, beliefs, programming, it doesn't just live in your organs and in your tissues and in your nervous system. It lives in your bones, especially when we're getting down to those deep core beliefs and deep core programming. Those live in your bones. And so when you let go of things that are that deep, that have defined you for so long and been the foundation of which you have made your decisions and walked upon, and you let all of that go, It's the opening of the bones. And when the bones open, there's a lactic acid that is released. And it really just makes you feel like your body's heavy. You can hardly get out of bed. You want to just sleep all day or lay around. Like you just have no energy, no physical motivation to do anything. And that happened to me on a personal level when I went through a frequency upgrade or, I moved into a higher frequency after leaving my husband and letting all of that go. And then once I moved through that, and this was compounded by the fact that I was also healing burnout, I was also healing adrenal fatigue. So that particular case was a multitude of situations. And so recently I thought, oh gosh, am I going through that again? Because I had, as I talked about in my last podcast, I've been feeling very, very detached. Well, the guides say it's not really detachment, it's apathy, right? And again, it's not that I don't care. It's just I'm not attached to needing the situation to be something other than what it is. I'm okay if it's cool. I'm okay if it's not. I'm okay if it works out. I'm okay if it's not. I've just reached that level. And so I was like, okay, so here we are again. My body is feeling like it's been hit by a truck. My actual body hurts. My bones hurt. I'm exhausted. And I'm really feeling unmotivated to be around other people, to go do things, to work. And all I really want to do is either lay down, sleep, or meditate. Like that's all I really want to do. And I've been forcing myself to go out and on the weekends and hang out with the guy that I'm dating or, be around other people because I was having this fear that I may be slipping into a depression or isolation when I'm going through something. In my childhood programming, isolation is what I did. My emotions were not allowed. I'm an emotional person. I've told you guys before, I'm a Cancer sun, I'm a Pisces moon, I'm a Scorpio rising, I'm a Cancer Venus. I have a ridiculous amount of water in my chart. My Pluto is in Scorpio. So I am an emotional being, right? And so as a child, my emotions weren't allowed. I wasn't allowed to be emotional. And I mean, honestly, even as an adult, of course you marry, you marry your parents when you're unaware. And so I spent a lifetime of my emotions not being allowed. And so I had learned over the years to isolate when I was emotional, but I really haven't been emotional. That's the other part. I haven't really been emotional. It's just been this interesting neutrality that I labeled detachment. And it's been kind of nice because there really hasn't been any suffering. And it's been the first time that I've been pretty peaceful about not being like I just am not attached to circumstances anymore. And I don't see my circumstances as meaning anything about me or my progress because I know that my circumstances in this moment, what I see in this moment, what I feel in this moment, what I'm interacting with in this moment is based upon my past accepted beliefs anyway. And so that shift has been super powerful for me. So fast forward to today, in communication with my guides, they said, no, it's apathy. It's not really detachment. It's apathy. And the reason why, because I've been sitting with what is going on with my body. I know Cancer is retro or Mars is retrograding in Cancer. I am co-ruled. My ruling planets are the Moon, Mars, and Pluto. And so obviously we're having a huge shift with Pluto right now. So that's, you know, got to be considered. Mars is in Cancer, must be considered. And whenever Mars is affecting me, I definitely usually have pain in my body, but not normally exhaustion, right? So I have had a little bit of pain or discomfort in the body and went right back into chiropractic to kind of make sure that I'm staying in adjustment. I'm not holding energy in my body too long in one area. And that's been helpful. But I was like, this exhaustion, I was like, did I let go all at once again? Like, I really needed some guidance because I don't want to go down the human rabbit hole of something's wrong with me. I don't want to get attached to that type of story or feed that type of story. And so the guide said that as I, last month, as I moved into the new earth frequencies, that's when I started to go through a process of what we'll call like hot flashes, right? Where you're burning off karma, you're burning off density, you're burning off things that's being transmuted and really starting to break things down. And then as I moved into January, it was that mass letting go. It was me letting go of everything all at once. And that is something that I really forgot about because I've channeled on this before. I don't remember when, but the guides assure me that I did talk about this before. That is a surefire way to know that you have moved into the new earth frequencies. Because when you move into those frequencies, whatever you are holding on to that is not serving you and will not serve you, you cannot take that baggage into the new earth. You cannot take that baggage into the new frequency. So it almost acts as a weight, keeping you in the same space. You're in the new frequencies, but you can't really move forward because you're holding on to so much baggage. And so part of what January was about, and I did talk about this a little bit in the 2025 podcast, January really was about letting go, right? Letting go of everything. Well, that's what I've been doing all month. I have been letting go of everything. And that's part of that feeling of why I felt detached or like I even told my girlfriend the other day, who lives in Tennessee, I said, I feel empty. I feel emptied out. Or like I've lost a little bit of my light when the truth is I've just been dumping my cup up. Like my cups have been flipped over. I'm emptying out all of the things that aren't serving me. And that process can be super draining on the physical body. And so that's what I've been going through. And it's just been, I can't explain it other than just complete exhaustion, burnout, where you don't want to be around anybody. You don't want to do anything. Like the thought of doing something just utterly exhausts you in the thought of it, right? So I had plans set for yesterday and I woke up and I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to do it. I've pushed myself to go to the gym because I'm still going to get up and move my body. That is a very healthy thing for me to do. But I ended up canceling my plans. And on Wednesday, I had scheduled, or someone had scheduled to do a meet and greet to see if they would be a good potential guest on the podcast. And they no-showed me. I think there was more of a communication error, but anyway, it was a no-show. I don't know. I couldn't tell you how fucking excited I was that they no-showed because as soon as they like, I wait 10 minutes. Same with a client. I give you 10 minutes, if you don't show up, it's over. I shut my laptop and I crawled my butt right into bed. And I was just like, and we're done. Case closed. I'm not doing anything. But I'm not miserable. I'm not sad. I'm not depressed. I'm just, I'm apathetic. And it's just because I'm letting go of so much. And I felt very compelled to share this because I'm like, how many other people out there don't understand why they are this exhausted? Now, that's not the only thing you could feel because here's the thing. If you have already let go of everything that is not serving you, if you've already done that process and you step into the new earth frequencies, or if maybe you've already gone through your exhaustion period, you're going to hit a point to where you're going to have so much freaking energy, you're not going to know what to do with it. Now, I will say when that happens, pace yourself. Pace yourself because it will lead to burnout very quickly because you can't go from one speed. You can't go from like 50 to 100 and stay at 100 for a long period of time without burning out, right? It's going to blow up your motor. We're no different. So if you are someone who is having the opposite experience where you've already gone through your tired time, your exhausted time, and now you're going 100 miles an hour and you're like, I got to do this and this and this. And you're super excited and you just got, I have so much energy. Pace yourself, put it into creative endeavors, right? Use it wisely, because you don't want to hit that spot of burnout where you get so exhausted that now your body needs to catch up. Allow yourself to acclimate to the new frequencies. And no matter what, when you move into any new frequency, whether it's new earth or not, right? Maybe you're not somebody who's moved into new earth yet, but you are moving up in frequency. Guess what? Every time we go through a frequency upgrade, our body is stretched. People used to say when they listened to my meditations or transmissions that they would fall asleep. And it wasn't really like they were sleeping, but you don't remember a lot of the meditation. And I remember the guides telling me, if somebody can't hold a frequency, meaning they haven't embodied that frequency, that is not their base frequency, they essentially get knocked out so that the work can be done to expand their capacity and expand their structure to be able to hold that frequency. That means there's a lot of letting go that has to happen to make space to hold that level of light inside of you. That is the same for when you move into a new frequency for yourself, right? That's the same thing. You're going to be tired more. You're probably going to get really good sleep at night. You're going to sleep for longer periods of time. You're going to want to meditate more, just lay around more. And so that is a normal process of going and moving into a new frequency anyway. So that's something to keep in mind. But it's no longer a possibility to go back and forth and straddle the frequencies the way that a lot of us used to do, me included. It's kind of like when Earth moved in 2012, Earth moved into the fourth dimension, and that's where it's been ever since. Well, now the Earth is moving into the fifth dimension and actually separating itself off to have a completely different experience. Now, let me talk about this for a second. And I know I've touched on this before. It's not that you don't see the other frequencies. Remember, all frequencies are right here, right now. They're not actual levels. I'll sometimes use like floors of a building as an example of frequency, but we need to look at it more as a radio station. All the frequencies are right here, and you can tune in and experience and see different frequencies, right? Well, once you move into new earth frequencies, it's like watching the other frequencies without any kind of effect on your being. There's no trigger. You don't get pulled into it. You're not experiencing and suffering because of it. It's something that you're observing and witnessing as if it's like happening on the TV, right? It's not happening to you. It's just something that you're witnessing, and you have love and compassion, but you know that it's happening for whoever's experiencing it. You live not in a utopia, but you live from a space of totality where you are able to see that there's a reason why that's happening, and it's actually a very loving thing. And you just live in this state of peace and compassion and observation, right? There's no real attachment to anything anymore. There's your circumstances or the material things that have manifested. You know that you can shift and change and create, and it's like they have no more external value about who you are. It's just a creation that you have made. And that's the best way I can articulate it. It's like you have an inner utopia that's beginning to happen because you attract what and who you are based upon the frequency that you are emanating, by the frequency that you are holding inside of you, your base frequency. I mean, you'll shift and change throughout the day, but everybody has a baseline that they default to especially when you move in, as you move. So just understand that if you are someone who is experiencing the world differently right now, if you're someone who's feeling detached or apathetic, if you're feeling exhausted or like the Energizer Bunny, if you don't really care about your circumstances anymore, like you, and again, it's not that you don't care, it's just that you don't, you know, it doesn't mean anything about you. When I say I don't care, you know, it doesn't mean anything about you. You know, if again, if you lose a friend, another one's going to show up. If you lose a partner, another one's going to show up. If you lose something in your life, you know that it's happening for you. Period. End of story. If you receive something in your life, you know it's happening for you. And so you just live in this space. And I've kind of lived here on and off most of the past 5 or 6 years, but it's different. And I personally can't quite articulate the difference other than I'm not sad about it. I'm not happy about it. I'm just like, I'm at peace. But at the same time, I also still have desire on my heart. I still have this knowing of how wonderful life is and how wonderful this experience is of being here, how lucky I am to be one of the ones who chose to be here, because every single person having an earthly experience is a master. Please hear me when I say that. And to really appreciate myself for the path and the life that I chose and my ability to navigate it and to no longer get attached to a story about that path, about what I've chosen for myself or created for myself. That's the best way I can articulate it. And knowing that everything is available to me. If it's on my heart, if it's something I desire, it is available to me. Whether that be my soulmate, whether that be a career goal, whether that be traveling, right? Whatever it is available to me. And all I have to do is the same thing that I would do when I was in my etheric body, which is align to that frequency so that I can have that experience. And that experience isn't always a physical experience or a manifested one immediately. It's more of you operate as if, right? Which is exactly what I taught in the recalibration experience. It's exactly what I learned last year. It's the thing that I feel like I mastered last year was, oh, look, all I have to do is align to this frequency, which is something I've been teaching for years. And I would have temporary success with it. But last year was the first time that I had massive success with it. The piece that I was missing is if those circumstances change, do I believe that my circumstances were which was holding the frequency, or do I believe I still hold that frequency and my circumstances are just altering, changing, right? They're deconstructing to reconstruct something better because I have decided that I want to create something better. And I had to learn that the hard way this fall. And that's okay because I get it now, right? I am the one, my beliefs, the frequency that I'm sitting on, and those beliefs is what's creating my experience. So if you feel like something isn't available to you or it's never going to happen for you, then it won't. But if you believe it will, it will. And you will start to operate as if it already has, because we know that we're multidimensional and we know that if that desire is on our heart, it is happening to us, for us. And all we have to do is learn to align to that frequency and start operating, start walking, start speaking, start seeing the world as if that is already our reality. We have to learn that fear and excitement are pretty much the same frequency. It's just you looking at it from one lens or another. It's also learning that faith and fear both require you to see, to believe in something that you can't see. Again, what lens are you looking at it from? This is why when I find something that I'm afraid of, I run towards it. And some might think that that's why my life can sometimes look not chaotic, but maybe dramatic, maybe up and down. But it's me jumping into the pools of fear and moving through those experiences because they open doors for me. They open my consciousness, they open my awareness, they expand me. And so that's another thing to kind of keep in mind, right? Where are you allowing fear to hold you back from doing, saying, experiencing, being something? People stay in relationships too long. People stay in homes too long, states too long, jobs too long. They don't take the risk, right? They don't go on the retreat. They don't hire the mentor. They don't go back to school. They don't do the things that they're feeling called to do because they're afraid. How is it going to work out? They need evidence. And that's a surefire way to know that you are looking at it through the lens of your ego, through the lens of fear, and the lens of uncertainty. And that's part of what my mission here is to help you shift frequencies. I call it being the change, helping you embody that in which you seek so that you can create the reality that you're desiring. In order to do that, you have to make peace with fear. You have to make peace with uncertainty. There's no way you can move into the new earth frequencies if you are so afraid of uncertainty and you're still living in any type of fear vibration. It doesn't mean that fear goes away. It's just that you're now besties with fear. You recognize that it's not real. And that's something that I have been allowing the guides to speak through me for the last few years, right? That this is something that you guys have to do. To prepare is to make peace with uncertainty, is to learn to surrender, is to learn to go with the flow, is to learn to let go, to make peace with what is, to make the best of it, to see things from the lens of this is happening for me and it's serving me. I just have to figure out how. And maybe I don't know how, but I just know that it is. And by knowing that it is and letting go, everything shifts and flows. And I'm now right where I'm meant to be. And that's why in 2025, I've committed to really working in the mentorship space of my focus no longer being on needing to be seen and more on, hey, let me be behind the scenes. Let me be the one that helps others be in the limelight, help other move out of their fear, out of their uncertainty, and step into their mission, step into their path, step into their destiny. So that they can lead those who are ready to get on that bullet train. And there's going to be quite a lot that don't choose to stay. Be quite a lot that choose to stay in the lower frequencies. And that's their path. And so what does that mean? That means that a lot will change for us that move into the new frequencies. We will be saying goodbye and letting go of friendships, relationships, family members, homes, jobs. And that's another reason why 2025 is really a year of forgiveness. It's a year of rebirth. Because when we forgive, we give back the pain that we were holding and saying was ours. When somebody hurts us, we hold on to that pain, but they're hurting us. They're inflicting their pain onto us. So when we forgive, we give them back their pain that they are the ones that need to process. We're saying this pain was never ours. We don't need to reconcile this. I don't need to know why you hurt me. I love the saying, I've heard it a million times by a million people, but it's so true. If a snake bites you, you don't chase after the snake and ask it why it fucking bit you. You fucking fling it away from you, or you run away from it. You get away from the snake. Guess what? This is the year of the snake. So whoever's hurt you, whether it be from childhood, relationships, bosses, childhood bullies, whatever. Forgive them. Release the pain, release the poison from your veins. You don't need to reconcile it. You don't need to know why. You don't need to hold on to it because you're afraid that you will get hurt again. No. Hold on to the wisdom. Let's use the analogy of the snake again. If you got bit by a snake, you weren't paying attention. You weren't looking where you were going. You weren't observing your environment. Because if you're being aware and you're being present and you're observing your environment, you're going to see that there's a snake there. You're going to see that it's a tiny snake that wants to bite you. It's poisonous. You'll know the difference between a snake that's just a snake, right? Meaning that's what it is. And a snake that's wanting to bite you, harm you, and hurt you. So as long as you stay present and in your truth and in your awareness, trusting your intuition because you're in the present moment, which is what it means to be grounded. You're in the present moment. You're in your body. You're very aware. You're going to go, oh, I remember. I can't venture into a new territory, connect with a new person, go a new way without really being present of my environment and what things feel like so that my intuition can interpret it and say yay or nay. And if you're not in your body, you're not going to be sensing those sensations. You're not going to be able to feel that communication. So I would love to hear from you in the comments if you are someone who's experiencing any of these things. And if you are, congratulations. Welcome to the new earth. And I will see you in the next podcast.
Hey, thanks for listening. This episode was brought to you by johannaburkhardt.com, where it's time to defy the limits of your mind and step into your multidimensional mastery. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. See you next time.